The bottom of this entrance door needs repair. Both the weather seal and the veneer on the inside of the threshold need replacing. After taking off the veneer on the threshold, I can see that the veneer has severely deteriorated. Looking at the threshold, the sill step has also deteriorated and is going to need replacing. The threshold is in two parts. On the outside of the house is an aluminum plate. On the inside of the house and underneath the door is a sill step which is made of wood. The sill step is held down by 4 rather large screws. The top bar of the sill step is in pretty good shape. Its foundation is really bad and I'm going to have to replace that. There are no substitutes available commercially for the foundation of my sill step, so I've got a couple of choices. I can either buy a brand new threshold, which is going to cost me about $40, or I can repair this one. The thresholds I've seen no longer use wood, they use PVC instead. So I don't have any way to replace this with wood except to do it myself. So what I'm going to do, I think, is keep my threshold and repair the foundation. And then what I'm going to do is put some veneer on the inside here to help support it. I've cleaned out the rotten wood for about 2/3 of the length of the foundation of the sill step. 1/3 of the length is still in pretty good shape, so I'm just going to leave it as is. An 8-foot length of 1x2 treated will cost about $2. But since I have plenty of scrap wood in my wood pile, replacing my sill steps foundation won't cost me anything. It's going to take me 2 pieces of scrap wood to fill in the gap in the foundation. Using a jigsaw, I've shaved off the edges of the scrap wood to fit. Because the screws in the sill step have rusted solid, it's easier for me to cut a couple gaps in the new foundation rather than trying to remove the screws. Next, all I have to do is put in the foundation. I don't have to worry about securing it right now because the veneer on the inside of the sill step will take care of that. For my veneer, I've chosen some craft board. This board is 1.5 inch wide by 1/4 inch thick, and it's sold in 3-foot lengths. This is fortunate because my sill step is 3 foot long, so I'll have to do very little trimming to make it fit. The 3-foot length of craft board that I bought is not quite long enough for the front of the sill step. It's a little short. So I decided to put it on top, and for the side I needed to buy a slightly longer piece, but the only piece I could find was made of oak. The one on top is made of poplar. The difference in color between the poplar and the oak shouldn't matter because at the end I'm going to stain it anyway. Before installing my veneer, I'm going to stain it with a color to closely match my prospective vinyl flooring. I may need multiple coats to match the color. Okay, I've finished staining the wood and I've screwed in the bottom plate. And now I'm going to attach the top plate. I've put in the top piece of wood and affixed it to the side piece on the side. I did not put any screws on the top. I think it looks better that way. The last thing I'm going to do is put some adhesive caulk on the outside of the threshold to keep it watertight. On closing the door, I noticed that there is no longer any gap between the door and the threshold, which means I can eliminate the door sweep. This threshold is now done, so instead of buying a brand new $40 threshold, all it cost me was about $6 in some wood and a little wood stain. The new wood also matches pretty well with the vinyl which I'm laying on my concrete floor. If you want to see how I do the vinyl, check out my video on how to lay vinyl over concrete.